Is the legend back? For many aviation enthusiasts, the end of Airbus's 2021 A380 production was the end of an era. Order books were closed, production facilities were dismantled, and the last parts rolled off the Toulouse assembly line. Many airlines began preparing to retire their A380 fleets. However, Emirates did not want this great era to close. In addition to sticking to the A380, the Dubai-based aviation giant has put forward a new plan for its development. Because the Emirates A380 was still the world's #1 aircraft, and now with an incredible concept, a brand new A380neo, they hope to revitalize it. So what is the purpose of this audacious plan? Has technology really advanced to the point where a $20 billion project can be revitalized? Are futuristic luxury cabin concepts, state-of-the-art composite materials, and next-generation ultrafan engines just pipe dreams, or an important step forward for aviation? Most importantly, is it possible for an airline to emulate a massive project like the A380? When the A380 was first introduced in 2007, it was proclaimed King of the Sky. The Boeing 747 was directly challenged by Airbus's 4-engine Super Jumbo. With its huge wingspan, full double-deck cabin layout, and maximum passenger capacity of 850, the A380 was more than an airplane. It was an engineering manifesto. But all this wealth came at a price: high operating costs, little flexibility, and compatibility with a small number of airports. The aviation industry had changed over time and was more technological. Passengers began to prefer direct flights from one point to another rather than large hubs. Long-range, twin-engine aircraft, such as the Airbus A350 and Boeing 787, provided greater flexibility at lower cost. For airlines, this meant giving up the luxury of the A380 in favor of efficiency. For Airbus, it also signaled the beginning of the end of the A380. At Emirates, however, it was the other way round. The A380 is the mainstay of Emirates' fleet. The airline has become by far the largest operator of the aircraft, after ordering more than 120 A380s. With the help of the A380, Emirates has transformed Dubai into a major international aviation hub. The A380 allowed Emirates to operate in higher quality and larger spaces, especially at airports with limited slots. It provided prestige with rich cabins and cheap seat miles on long flights. Emirates A380s continued to fly even after production ended in 2021. The airline has now knocked on Airbus's door saying, "You build a new one and we will buy it again." But this was more than a call to revitalize the previous paradigm. This was an offer for a completely redesigned aircraft, the A380neo. Nostalgia is not the only factor driving Emirates' demand. The A380neo concept is based on a window of opportunity brought about by changing market dynamics and emerging technologies. Because things that were thought to be impossible in the early 2000s are now becoming possible. Engines are the most important part of the aircraft. Rolls-Royce's new ultrafan technology promises a 10 to 25% increase in fuel efficiency, as well as reduced emission and noise levels. These engines have the potential to restore the economic viability of operating 4-engine giants. If the A380neo is powered by ultrafan engines, it may be able to compete with other competitors. Materials are less important than engines, but materials are important. The 787 and A350 are no longer the only aircraft using light alloys and composite structures. The A380's structural weight could be greatly reduced with similar technology, which could allow for more passengers or a longer range. Third, ergonomics and digital systems in the cockpit. The technology of the original A380 is outdated to the new world. The digital flight systems of the future can provide more safety, cheaper maintenance, and less training. Taken as a whole, these developments provide not only a revitalized Super Jumbo, but also the possibility of flying highly efficient, luxuriously, with a high number of people. Of course, there is also a financial dimension. You build it, we'll buy it, is Emirates' clear message to Airbus. However, this goes beyond ordering a few aircraft. Emirates is discussing the possibility of ordering at least 100 aircraft, which is $20 billion, but giving this directly is daunting. But is it worth the risk? Compared to other carriers, Emirates has a different vision. They support the hub-and-spoke model of long-haul flights, departing from a central hub such as Dubai. Sending a single A380 with twice the capacity of an A321 is a strategic advantage at airports with limited slots, such as London Heathrow or Tokyo Haneda. In addition, Emirates also offers a premium experience in addition to seats. Private suites, in-flight showers, and private lounges are features of A380 cabins that are difficult to replicate on smaller aircraft, such as the Boeing 777. For Emirates, the A380 resembles a flying icon to an ancient king. But demand is not the only problem facing Airbus. In 2021, the A380 production line was dismantled. Thousands of engineers left for other projects, and the supply chain was fragmented. Rebuilding the line and integrating new technologies will take years of work and billions of dollars. The key question for Airbus is whether this situation will lead to the postponement of more profitable projects, such as the A350 or A320. A few airlines still use these aircraft. Airline strategies nowadays emphasize more direct, frequent, and smaller routes. But Emirates wants to break the mold here. Passengers want to fly comfortably over long distances. But it was only A380 that could achieve this. But it doesn't happen without it. Emirates thinks that if this comfort is provided, demand will follow. Emirates sees the A380neo not just as another aircraft, but as a platform that will revolutionize the long-haul travel industry. Moreover, their insistence on it demonstrates the UAE's soft power in the air and goes beyond simple commercial tactics. The A380 has become a symbol of Dubai's success as a global transit hub. Traveling in luxury on this huge aircraft has done more than move people. It has made Dubai a household name. In short, it says that if you don't do it, we will revolutionize it by doing it. This is a real possibility rather than a threat. China's interest in large aircraft has been clearly expressed. China is preparing to join the wide-body aircraft market with the start of the COMAC C929 project. The creation of an A380 clone elsewhere is possible with the financial and political support of the Gulf countries. Therefore, the A380neo has now become a strategic conflict for the future of international aviation, rather than just a business dispute between Airbus and Emirates. A $20 billion bet. Airbus now has two options in front of it. One, to develop itself and come back to its former strength and produce the A380 Neon. This requires years of development and billions of dollars of investment. Only in return can Airbus receive hundreds of orders and bring back a legend in aviation. 2. Pay attention to the existing product line and ignore demand. Investing money in programs that are already effective and successful, such as the A350 and A321XLR. While this is a safer option, it could also turn into another what if in aviation history. And what about Boeing? As of now, the American giant has no competitors. Production of the 747 has been stopped. The development of the 777X is still ongoing. Boeing currently does not have an ultra-long-haul, high-capacity aircraft in its inventory. If Airbus continues to grow and Emirates fulfills its commitment, it can dominate this market without any competition. Nevertheless, after all these calculations, only one question remains. Can one person make a company the biggest company again? Or will this vision remain the most costly dream in aviation? What are your thoughts? Is it possible for the A380 to make a comeback with updated technology? Or should we keep this romantic fantasy underground? If you enjoyed this deep dive into aviation, please don't forget to press the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Is the A380 just a pleasant relic from the past, or does it deserve a second chance? The heavens are waiting, but will the A380 rise once again?